Hi, welcome to first session of CRM Functional Online Training. This is a video-based training and it covers complete SAP CRM Functional module. In this course, you will also learn SAP CRM middleware. For complete picture of the course, please visit the course content section. In the course content section, you can observe how much time is spent on each topic. This will give you a clear understanding of the course. At the end of the course, I will give you some tips and tricks of CRM module. You will learn what are the major responsibilities of a CRM functional consultant. I will give you practical examples and real-time scenarios as well, which will help you to do job as CRM functional consultant. You will learn what is domain of CRM technical consultant and what is domain of CRM functional consultant, because there are some gray areas. So let's start with what we'll get in today's session. Today's session is divided into three parts. In the first part, we'll discuss introduction of CRM module. We'll look into what is CRM, what is SAP CRM. We'll discuss the key functions of SAP CRM and what are the prerequisites for learning SAP CRM. In the second part, we'll go through the course content. We'll see what are the different modules of SAP CRM, what are the different channels through which you can access the CRM system, and how can we connect our SAP CRM systems to other SAP systems and non-SAP systems in the landscape. And in the third part, we'll learn what is customization, and we'll also go through one practical example of date profile configuration. So let's get started. What is CRM? CRM is a business strategy which aims to optimize the interactions and makes those interactions profitable to maximize the success of the business. Now, what is SAP CRM? SAP CRM is a CRM tool provided by SAP. The prerequisite for learning SAP CRM is there is no real barrier to entry into SAP CRM. What matters is your commitment and your level of interest. Though a lot of SAP CRM consultants come from SD background, you will find a good number of consultants from backgrounds as diverse as technology, functional sales, academics, and even PhDs. Like any other product, SAP CRM tool has evolved over the years and many versions have been released. The latest version that is being used is SAP CRM 7.0 Enhancement Pack 2. In daily business, various departments like the marketing, sales, and service interact directly and regularly with the customers. From an enterprise point of view, you can use various channels to interact with your customers, like field applications such as mobiles or PDAs, web channels, interaction centers, and partner channels. So, coming to mobiles, various field applications offer every time and anytime access to the required information and processes of field service employees, who generally remain offline. Via interaction centers, you can integrate your telephony and email integration. The web channel offers a complete e-marketing, e-commerce, and e-service platform with personalized, convenient, and consistent service. Customer can access and research information and then purchase products or services anytime, anywhere. The partner channel management of the SAP CRM combines web channel management and traditional CRM to a comprehensive partner management solution. Now let's summarize what's CRM. CRM is a business strategy that aims to optimize customer interactions in order to maximize the success of the business. SAP CRM is part of SAP Business Suite. It can be integrated with SCM, PLM, and SRM, having SAP ECC as backend. As we know, sales, service, and marketing departments of an enterprise interact. The customer key processes in each department can be mapped in SAP CRM. These departments use different channels to interact with the customer, namely channel partners, field, interaction center, and e-commerce. What's SAP Business Suite? So we have a SAP R3 system, which is connected to the SAP CRM system, which is managing all the customers. Then we have our SAP SCM system connected to the SAP R3 system, which is managing the operation and administration. Then we have our SAP SRM system connected to the SAP R3 system, which is managing the vendors. And then we have our SAP PLM system, which is managing the products and services. So here the SCM stands for supply chain management, SRM stands for supplier relationship management, and PLM stands for product life cycle management. So the SAP Business Suite is a suite of business applications to enable companies to manage the entire value chain across business networks, transforming into a more adaptive business. The solutions in the SAP Business Suite are open and flexible, supporting databases, applications, operating systems, and hardware platforms from most major vendors. Let's have a look into the CRM architecture. We have a CRM system as a logical box connected to SAP ECC, connected to our SAP BW, connected to our SAP APO, connected to our SAP portal by which we can access all the systems in the landscape, connected to our PDS and laptops, connected to our internet, and connected to our interaction center where we can do integration with telephony and emails. We use the CRM middleware for data exchanges between SAP ECC and SAP CRM. So here's our CRM system, and we are using our portal to access all the systems in the landscape. We have all the SAP BI system, SAP SCM system, SAP ERP system. We have our interaction center, web channel, mobile clients, and handles. So the SAP CRM system is used as a central CRM server with the corresponding application components. The SAP ERP system is a backend system with tried and true ERP functions. The SAP BW or BI system as a data warehouse solution with comprehensive statistical and analysis functions. The SAP SCM system as a global available to promise check and demand planning solution. And the SAP Network Portal as a tool that provides integrated access to all the systems. So let's have a look into how our CRM system is connected to other systems and the data communication is being possible. So here we have our CRM system, which is connected to the ERP system, SAP BW system, and SAP SCM system. So inside our SAP CRM system, we have our CRM middleware, which has the adapters of the system to which it has been connected. Like you can see the R3 adapter, the BW adapter. So data is exchanged between the CRM system and the connected ERP system using the CRM middleware. A plugin is installed in the SAP ERP system which acts as a counterpart to the R3 adapter in the SAP CRM system, supporting data communication between the two systems. The data exchange includes the initial transfer of customizing, master, and transactional data to the SAP CRM system and transfer of delta data in both directions. Now you heard a lot of technical jargons: customizing, master, transactional data, initial, load, delta load. So I will explain you in detail when I will be dealing with SAP CRM middleware. But just as an overview, I am telling you the data that we create once and use it in subsequent transactions is known as master data. The data which we are created as part of our customizing is known as customizing data. And the data which is being created as part of transactions like sales order, sales contract is known as transactional data. Okay? So CRM middleware is an integral part of the CRM server. It's the message hub. It requires no additional software, no additional installation, and no additional server. An advantage it provides lower integration cost. So as you can see in the diagram, the CRM server has a CRM middleware. In the CRM middleware, we have all the adapters. So the SAP CRM solution supports the handling of CRM business objects such as customers, prospects, activities, opportunities, products, product catalogs, in a variety of application components including internet sales, service, interaction center, telesales, and campaign management. Some of these components require external extensions for communication and integration. These components will be described in more detail in later sections. The middleware layer supports the control data exchange with other systems such as mobile clients, backend systems, and data warehouses. A replication procedure guarantees consistent and up-to-date data in the distributed local database, especially for mobile use. So let's have a look how CRM is connected to the internet application. As you can see, we have the CRM server connected with web browsers via a web middleware. Okay, so we have the browsers connected to the web server, and inside our web middleware we have Internet Pricing and Configurator IPC, Index Server and Search Engine, and Java 2 Enterprise Edition. So the Internet application components are made available through a web server. These are based on Java 2 Enterprise Edition technology. This technology is an open, non-SAP platform. Then we have the Index Server and Search Engine. So product catalogs are exported from SAP CRM to an external index server for faster access to the product catalog. Then we have the IPC. The IPC component provides the configuration and pricing data for web application. Since the IPC is designed as a separate component, it ensures the high performance needed in an internet environment. Basic CRM data like business partners, products, orders, etc. have to be maintained and set up in the CRM system itself and can be used in the web environment. It explains the architecture of SAP CRM channels including Internet Application, Interaction Center, Mobile and Sales Services. With the Internet Sales and Internet Customer Self-Service application components, Internet users can access the My SAP CRM solution to configure and purchase products from published catalogs or to request a particular service. The shipped standard templates provide a ready-to-run solution that can also be adjusted to meet individual requirements. Now let's have a look into the CRM Custom Interaction Center architecture. We have the SAP system, which is getting connected to the telephony system and the email server. The telephony system is getting connected via the CTI server, and the email server is connected. The interaction center supports various communication channels such as telephone, email, and fax, as well as internet applications such as Call Me Back, co-browsing, and voice over internet protocol. Now let's have a look into how our CRM interaction center looks like. So as you can see, we have a scratch pad where you can write something. The account information appears over here. Any alerts pops over here. The communication information is shown over here. Any system messages is visible in this area. Then we have the function bar to accept or reject. We have the navigation bar to traverse from one object to other, and the detailed view of the object is shown in this application area. Any broadcasting message is displayed in this area. So let's have a look into what all SAP CRM covers. It covers SAP CRM Marketing, SAP CRM Sales, SAP CRM Service, CRM Channel Management, CRM Customer Interaction Center, CRM Analytics, CRM Field Applications, and CRM E-commerce. So let's have a detailed look into what all we will be covering. We'll start with org model. We'll see what are org units, positions, holders, and owners. So in org model, we'll see how a business organization is mapped into SAP CRM's org model, and we will see how we can automatically determine organizations in our transactions. Then we'll move on to account management, where we'll look into what is the concept of business partner categories, business partner roles, business partner relationships. We'll get to know what are templates. Then we'll proceed to product master, where we'll see what are the basic features of product master. We'll see set types, attributes, categories, and hierarchies, which are used to build a product. So these three topics, org model, account management, and product masters, are basically master data topics. Master data means you create once, but use it in subsequent transactions. Then we'll go into transaction processing. So by transaction, like any business transaction is represented in SAP CRM as a transaction type. So we'll look into what is the structure of transactions. We'll look how the product information is captured in the transactions and how item category determination is taking place. Then we'll look into the basic functions such as status management, date management, text management. Then we'll move on to activity management. So any business interaction that you have, any follow-up that you have with your customer is represented in CRM system as an activity. So we'll know what is the difference between business activity and task. And we'll try to customize various kinds of activities. Then we'll move on to actions. So actions are basically used to automate certain parts of transactions. So like the follow-up processes. We'll look into what are the schedule conditions, start condition, what is meant by action processing type and action processing time. Then we'll look into partner processing. So what's partner processing? Any stakeholders in your transactions, like the sold to party, ship to party, bill to party, these are known as partners. So what all partners could be determined in your transactions? What partners would be mandatory? And how can we automate the determination of these partners? These all topics will be covered in partner processing. So we'll start with what is partner function, what is partner function category, what is access sequence or search strategy, how we can determine partners automatically. Then we'll look into pricing. We'll look what is condition technique, how the pricing determination is taking place. Then we'll move on to billing. We'll see the entire billing process, which consists of the input processing, the billing, and then output processing. We'll see what are billing plans. Then we'll move on to our CRM module, and there we'll learn what is middleware objects, what is BDocs, what is queues, how to set up queues, how to register queues. We'll have a detailed discussion on initial data load, delta load, and synchronization. And we will look into how to monitor the SAP CRM system and troubleshoot in case of any issues. Then we'll do a specialization training on marketing, sales, and service. So in marketing, we'll look into what is the marketing plan, campaign, customer segmentation, external list management, lead, personalized mail form. So basically, our marketing process starts with a marketing plan. Then we create a campaign with reference to a marketing plan. We execute the campaign by selecting a customer segment, which is also known as target group, and we get some leads. So with the lead, the marketing process ends, and then we continue with our sales process, wherein the sales representative accesses the lead as a hot lead and creates an opportunity, then quotation, and the contract or sales order. So these all things we'll be looking into the sales model, and then also learn what is rebate management. In service, we'll look into install base management, service plan, SLA or service level agreement profiles, the response and availability times, the service order management, complaint and return management, and warranty and claims. Then we'll look into the channel management. So like it's a platform for organization to manage partner relationships. by leveraging the web channel, traditional CRM and PRM to deliver a full channel solution. Then we'll look into what's analytics. So analytics is basically used for measuring the result and optimizing the business process to measure value and use in implementation of business strategy. Then we'll have a look into field applications. So field applications are those applications which enable access in an offline environment for the sales or service employees who are out in fields. Then we'll look into interaction center. So interaction center is basically used for email and telephone integration. So we'll look into what are the function and capabilities of interaction center, the communication architecture, the rule policies and broadcast messages. We will also learn in CRM technical the role concept. So what is the role concept in general? What is the business role? What is the navigation bar profile? And how to do the assignment of business roles to objects or positions. Then we'll look into enhancing and customizing the navigation bar. We'll configure the navigation bar. What is the concept of logical link, work center, group links, and direct links? Integrating with transaction launcher. What are the prerequisites and limitations of creating new transactions? Creating and assigning a role configuration key. Adding and deactivating a work center page. We'll look into customizing work area, where we'll cover customizing the work area, the UI configuration tool, configuring access sequence, calling the UI configuration tool, how to look for the technical information using the F2 key, the structure of the UI configuration tool, and the design layer. We'll also look into enhancing the work area, enhancing the work area AT application enhancement tool versus the UI configuration tool. What is the difference between these two? How to start the application enhancement tool, how to create new field or table using AT. Then we will look into the tips and tricks of CRM, like enhancing the work area, queries list for UI component, debugging, finding the message source, how to enhance the UI component without using AT, the behavioral extension using baddies or business add-ins, how to find the general component and API behind a UI component, and what are the responsibilities of CRM technical consultant versus the functional consultant, and also show you some practical examples and real-time scenarios. So at the start I told you that we will be discussing on SAP CRM 7.0 Enhancement Pack 2, and that is latest in the market. So you must be thinking, what is Enhancement Pack? Well, Enhancement Pack is a way SAP delivers incremental software innovation to SAP ERP customers. The customers can electively implement these software innovations from SAP and activate the software upon business demand. As a result, customers can isolate the impact of software updates and bring new functionality online faster to shorten testing cycles. So we'll look into what is the new features that has been added in SAP CRM 7.0 Enhancement Pack 1 and Enhancement Pack 2. The new features that has been added in SAP CRM 7.0 Enhancement Pack 1 is save searches, to save the search criteria and use it again and again. You don't need to key in the search criteria again. For you always start your day with searching the sales organization as this and the name start with A star. You don't need to do this every day. You can save the search and access the save search every day. Then object tagging, that's a great feature that allows user to tag an instance. You can tag your favorite instance and call it from the home page. I will show you how object tagging is enabled and how you can use it. Then we have a central sharing tool. It's a great way to share the save searches, tags, favorite, etc. with your user community. So as you can see in the screen, this is my CRM web UI homepage. So we have the tags over here, we have the favorites over here, and the share box over here. So basically the tag cloud, you can see the bigger names that like adcom. So the bigger name adcom, it basically is a tag that is being used more frequently than the top cost that is being used less frequently. Then we have the favorite section where you can tag some objects as favorites. We have a SEO box section where we can share the tags or the favorites to other users. So these three features are the new enhancements in SAP CRM 7.0 Enhancement Pack 1. So these are great features which you can use, like these favorite paths. So you don't have to keep posters on your table for the things that you like. In a SAP CRM system, you can tag things that are favorites and you can access it again. And then you can mark these tag cloud. You must have seen these tags in websites such as delicious.com. And these tags and favorites could be shared with other users in your share box. So no need of sending emails. You can just send the things that you require from the share box. The things that are new features that has been added in Enhancement Pack 2 is the performance improvement, reduction of implementation time, performance improvement in CRM data extraction, improved knowledge article. It allows to assign knowledge articles quicker and easier. Then option of filtering in this workflow inbox, and some additional assignment blocks such as complaints and leads has been added in business partner overview page. So now coming to the third part of today's session, what does configuration mean? So configuration or customization should be thought of as parameterization rather than programming. It's like adjusting the nuts and bolts. It's to change the settings of the default functions to the customer's unique business requirement. So you must be thinking, how is SAP CRM configured? So as I promised, I'll be showing you one live example of how to configure date management. But before we proceed, let's have a look into some of the date management terminologies and concepts. So what's a date type? A date type is a description of a date such as the start of a contract, end of a contract, or date of a signature. So as you got to know what's date type, you must be wondering how it fits into our date management. So dates are important for correct processing of all business transactions. In global business processes that cover several countries and time zones, it's particularly necessary to have a date management system that can convert time zones and the factory calendar in documents of a business partners involved in transaction. So, in this overall context of date management, we have date types, we have durations. So what's a duration? It's a time frame between 2 points in time that consists of a number value and a time unit. The number value does not have a defined meaning without the time unit. Different durations such as seconds, day, a month, or a year cannot simply be converted from one to other. The duration always has a local reference. That is, it has a reference object via which the time zone and calendar can be determined. Then we have date rules. It's a method for calculating times. This calculation can depend on other times, durations, and reference objects. It's basically used for automatically calculating some dates based upon certain formulas or rules. So the prerequisites for writing date rules is XML knowledge. The date rules have version management. This makes sure the date rules used in transactions that are not yet completed can remain unchanged. You can create a new version from these date rules which is valid as of the creation date. So the system can calculate the time, the dates in transaction document by using this date rule. For example, the cancellation date of a contract. You can use a predefined date rule or define your own date rule. Then we have reference objects. So you can use the reference object to control which time zone and which factory calendar the date and duration refer to. Instead of automatically using the time zone and calendar of the user or of the system, you can set the system to use another time zone when calculating the dates, namely that of the reference object. You can allow one or several reference objects for one date profile. You must assign one of the allowed reference objects for each date type or duration type. You cannot create any new reference objects. So to calculate date, the system needs reference objects. By referencing to a reference object, each time becomes a local date and a local time. Because the system works internally with the time stamps, date, time, in global time, universal time coordinated (UTC). It needs the reference object to translate the time into UTC. For duration, the system needs a reference object to determine the correct factory calendar, workdays and holidays. Now you can use the reference object to control the time zone and factory calendar to reach a date type or duration reference. For example, you can determine that the date type value 2 in quotation is calculated in time zone of the user who creates the quotation, regardless of the main location of the organization. The reference object for a date or duration is always defined independently of the date profile. Therefore, a date type or duration can have different reference objects depending on the date profile. Different date types can have different reference objects within the date profile. So let's see what's calculation sequence. So you can enter a calculation item for date types. This specifies the sequence in which the system calculates the dates. For example, if you enter 1 here for the cancellation date, the system calculates the other date type for the date profile outgoing from this date type. Choose the sequence so that the dates which appears in other date rules are calculated first. For example, contract start date is equal to current date. The contract end date is equal to contract start date plus 12 months. The contract start date must be known in order that the end date can be calculated. So, if you take this example, so we have a contract start date, we have a contract end date. Now, if the system tries to calculate the contract end date without calculating contract start date, that obviously it will not get the value of contract start date and will land into error. So, that's why very logical that our contract start date should be calculated first. So we'll assign the calculation sequence 1 to the contract start date and calculation sequence 2 to the contract end date. So that first the contract start date gets calculated and then the contract end date should get calculated. So we'll see all this in the configuration, and then we'll try to relate this definition with the actual configuration and see how it works. Then we have one-time calculation of dates. So you can determine that the date in a document remains the same after first calculation and is not recalculated with each change to the document. For example, the date type contract start. For this, select the determine date only once field in the group frame date rules of date type. So if suppose you have assigned a date rule today to the contract start date, so it populates today's date. Okay. But then you think later on, no, I want not today's date, I want tomorrow's date. So you manually change the date. So I don't want the system to again recalculate the rule and revert the date to today's date, because I have manually changed it and I want it not to be today's date, but I want tomorrow's date. So I want to manually override this. So I don't want the system to revert back to the date rule. So I will obviously enter one-time calculation of dates to prevent the system override of the manual intervention. Okay. So displaying this, in order to define the sequence and editability of date types in the web client web UI, you need to select the appropriate screen area and activate or deactivate the only display field indicator, depending on whether you want the date type to be editable or not. You need to specify in what sequence you want the date types to appear in the display position fields. So this is all about how the look and feel of dates would be. Okay, so now let's relate and create these objects in the system for better understanding. So we discussed date type. A date type was a description of a date such as start of a contract, end of a contract, or date of a signature. So now let's go back to system and have a look. So we are in our CRM system. We have gone into our SPRO for doing customization. SPRO is a T code that we enter in this command center to get into this screen from where we can do customizing tasks. So from here we go to customer relationship management, then in basic functions, and then we have to find date management. So here we have a node for defining date types, duration types, and date rules. So let's create these objects. So here we have the date type. So let's click on new entries. We have to give a key. Suppose I give it as ZD1 and I give the description as date type 1, and I click on date for profile. I click on this checkbox. By clicking on this checkbox makes this date type accessible in a date profile, means you can use this date type for searching in this date profile. If I click on milestone, which means that the start date and the end date are same. The difference between the start date and end date is 0. So that means it's a milestone. So I click another date type, that is ZD2. We click it as a profile and I name it as date type 2. Then I click on save. So when I click on save, it will save these entries and ask for a transport request. So this would be a customizing request. So these changes, whatever changes that we have done right now, will be saved in this transport request. Then we'll create one duration. So what a duration? It was a time frame between 2 points in time that consists of a number value and a time unit. So look into it how we create it. So here we have the duration. So I'll click on new entries and then I will give you on the script key, that is ZDura1, and name as duration 1 for test, and I will click on save. Then I will go to date rules. So what was date rule? It was a method for calculating times, and the calculation can depend on other time, duration, reference objects. I hope you remember that I told you XML knowledge is necessary in order to work with the date rules. But I will show you in the system how, even if you don't know XML, you can still manage to alter some dates and create your own date rules. Okay? So suppose what we like to do is I will add some days or months to a particular date and make it calculate in the system. Okay? So a similar kind of task that has already been done is in end of contract plus 30 days. We have a predefined date rule, bill 0008, end of contract plus 30 days. So what we'll do is I'll click on this date rule, I'll go into it, and I will look for the XML coding that has already been done, and we will try to understand. I have to click on this line, double click on this line, and what we'll try to see is how the XML coding has been done. So this is my XML code of version 1. Okay, now if you don't need to remember all this, what you can do is you can just copy paste this code and make the alterations as you need. Like I will make you understand what is happening. From the description, as you can make out, that the name suggests the end of contract was 30 days. So it is adding the 30 days to end of contract. So this operation that is being used is plus. So I have a move type expression, display type, move type, direction is equal to plus. So if you need to do addition, you will have a plus over here. If you need to do subtraction, you will have a minus over here. Then I have the date type to which I have to add or subtract, that is contract end. You can see end of contract, so cont end. And then I have with a constant, I'm just adding this value to 30 days. 30 days. If I want to add months, I can have month over here. Okay. So what I will do is I will take this date type, copy it, paste in a notepad. Paste this date in a notepad. Now, as you remember, we had two date types, and I need to do the addition of those two date types. Okay, so let's go back and check what were the date types. So we had defined two date types, ZD1 and ZD2. So what we'll do is we have two dates, ZD1 and ZD2. So what I would like to show you is I will populate ZD1 as today's date and ZD2 as ZD1 plus 10 days. So this is the functionality which I'm trying to show you. So what I will do is I'll assign the created date rule, this date rule, to ZD2. So over here, as you can see, I had the date type cont_n. So I'll simply replace this with ZD1, and I will have the direction plus. So that will do the addition of ZD1 with, instead of 30, I will make it the changes as 10, and I will keep this as date. Okay. Okay, so let's copy this code. Okay, go to date rules, click on new entries, date rule as any rule name, Z test 1, and write the name as rule for ZD2. Okay, click on save, go back, I have to click on display. So I have a line created over here. So what I'll do is double click on it, and I will just copy paste the code. I will click on edit, and I will just copy paste the code that I have written in my notepad. Okay, and I click on save. So here I have result, I have addition, I'm adding the ZD1 with 10 days. So click on save, check mark. So I go back, now I'm already done with date type, the duration type, and date rules. So the next big thing that we have to do is we have to create a date profile. Now what's a date profile? A date profile would have is date types, duration types, and date rules that we would be using, okay, for any given transaction. So we will work with these date types, duration types, and date rules in the date profile, and finally we will assign that date profile to a transaction type to have our dates in that particular transaction. Okay, so let's go into define date profile. So what I will do is I will create a new entry. Okay, so now I will give the name as ZDP1. Okay, the name of the profile would be date profile for test. Okay, and I will save the date profile. Then the thing that we need, again a transport request would get created. I save the transport request. Then the thing which you need to do in a date profile is, first I have to declare what are the reference objects that I will be using. What are the date rules we will be using. Okay. So let's come and define the date rules that we would like to use. So SAP provides some standard date rules already in the system which you can use. Okay. And if required, you can create date rules according to your business requirement. So let's use the date rule that we have created in our system. We have created z test1 rule for ZD2. Okay. So we assign the date rule to the date profile. And as I told you, we would also be populating ZD1 with today's date. So let's see what date rules we have existing in SAP so that we can just assign it. So I'm trying to look for the date rule today. So see, this is today's date. We have a predefined date rules in the system. So what I'm trying to show you is we can use the date rules already been provided by SAP, because SAP knows that you may need to use this kind of date. So SAP has predefined date rules which you can use in your date profile. In addition to that, you can create your date rules by copying the existing date rules and doing the required modifications. So what I did right now is I assigned one predefined date rule and one custom build date rule, and I click on save. Then I need to declare the reference objects that we will be using. So I hope you remember I told you the reference object is to control which time zone and which factory calendar the date and durations refer to, instead of automatically using the time zone and calendar of the user or of the system. So we also tell you that you cannot create any new reference objects. Okay. So let's see what's the reference objects that are available in this. So the date profile, I click on new entries. So in my date profile, let's see what are the reference objects I have. So I click on this drop down box. So I have activity, customer, service profile, ship to party, system, and user. Okay. So what I will do is I will assign the system. I'll take the time zone of the system. Okay. So it gets saved. So what I'll do is I will save this. Now what I need to do is I have to declare the date types that I will be assigning, and I have to declare the duration types that I will be assigning. Okay. So my declaration of date rules and reference objects is complete. Now I need to assign the date types and the durations which I will be using, and assign them to the screen areas where I want them to be visible. So I click on this date types. I click on new entries. So I choose the date type ZD1 and ZD2. So see, I have my date type ZD1 and I assign the date rule today. See, only two date rules are visible because in the declaration part I have declared only two date rules. So I will assign today's date rule to this date type, and I will assign the reference object system. Okay. Now comes the question of calculation position and determine date only once. Okay. So hope you remember the calculation sequence was to specify what is the sequence of calculations. Like I gave you the example of contract start date is equal to current date and contract end date is equal to contract start date for 12 months. I told you the contract start date must be known in order that the end date can be calculated. So this specifies the sequence in which the system calculate the dates. Okay. So over here for calculating ZD2 I must know ZD1 because I am doing an addition of 10 days to ZD1. So So we'll assign the calculation position as 1 and determine date only once. So what was this? So one-time calculation of dates. So you can determine that the date in a document remains the same after first calculation and is not recalculated each change to the document. Okay. So I don't want it to change. So I click on determine date only once and I display format I will give as weekday, and I want to show the time zone, I want to show the date, I want to show the time. Okay. And then I need to make this assignment to the screen area. Where do I want my this date type to appear in my screen? Okay. So I click here the new entries. And then from this F4 help I can select which screen area I need. So I will assign this to opportunity. So the screen area that I need to select here is opportunity. See, these are the screen areas that are available. So I want my date type to be available in opportunity assignment block. So I click on opportunity. Then display position. What will be the position? Suppose I have two date types. I want this to be displayed first and the other date type to be displayed second. So I'll be assigning the position as 1. Should I be able to change it, or it's only display field? If I check this box, then it will only a display field. Otherwise, it will be edited. So I'm not checking it. I click on save. So my this date type is done. So now I need to configure the second date type ZD2. So I go back to the date types. See, so I have the ZD1 completed. Click on save. Then I click on new entries. So I can choose the ZD2 over here. So I look for where is my ZD2. Okay, I have it. And then I would like to assign the date to ZTest1 because I want to have an addition of 10 days to ZD1. This time also I want a determination date only once and the calculation position of 2 because I have assigned the calculation position as 1 to ZD1. The display format I would like to take all. The reference object would be system. And I would like to click on save. Then I have to go and assign this to screen area dates. So I click on new entries over here. And I assign it to the same screen area of opportunity, but I will give the display position as 2. So click on opportunity. And I will give the display position as 2 and I click on save. Now I go to the durations part and I define the duration that we have already created. I click on new entries and name of the duration that we have already created. So here we have it, ZDura1, duration 1 for test. Then reference object I assign it to system, and duration I can give some default. Suppose I want to give 10 days, so I can give it 10-day duration, and I click on save. It got saved. Then I have to assign this to a screen area as we did the same thing for date types. So this duration also needs to be shown in some part of the screen. So I click on new entries over here. So I click on the screen area, F4 help. So that pulls out the screen areas that are available to be assigned. So again take the opportunity assignment block, and I would like to give the display position as 3, and I click on save. So I am done with my date profile. So let's recapitulate what we did. We declared the reference object, we declared the date rules, we modified the date types, we assigned the date rules to the date types, we declared the durations, and we assigned the date types and date durations to the screen areas where we need them to be visible. Okay, so now I have my date profile ZDP1. So what's next? I need to assign the date profile to a transaction type. So I will show you how. I go back. Okay, so we were in basic functions, so I close this node, and here we have transactions. So I go to define transaction type. Okay, so I will search for my required transaction type of opportunities, and I will assign this date profile to the transaction type. The details of the transaction type I will be discussing when we discussing transaction types, transaction processing in detail. But for the time to illustrate you the date management functionality, I am going just to the transaction type, the desired transaction type. Okay, so by using this position, I can quickly find out my transaction type by using the key. So I know the ZTO is my transaction type. I click on this tick, and this will take you to the transaction type that I need to go, and I think my key was that OGT, opportunity. So I'll click on this magnifying glass to get into the details of this opportunity. Okay, and I see that the date profile has already been assigned is ZTO, but I have created a different date profile. I've created ZDP1. I click on enter, and I click on save. Okay, so this is a transaction type. It has different profiles. I just changed the profile to show you how I can use my profile and use it in my transaction type and see what a difference it makes. So this also has a pop-up where I need to save the changes to TR. So I'm done with it. Okay, so now what I will do is I will go and show you by creating an opportunity. So I go to a different screen. I give a T code WUI_SSO. So this is a new T code for SAP CRM 7.0 Enhancement Pack 2, WUI_SSO, where SSO stands for Single Sign-On. So our CRM web UI looks like. Okay, so here you have the navigation bar profile. Here we have the quick create buttons. We have the recent items. We have the home page. So I will discuss these things in detail when I will be teaching you the CRM web UI. So for the time being, let's quickly create an opportunity from the create button. So click on this opportunity. So let's scroll down to our dates, which we have in milestones. So here we see the milestones, the dates are appearing. So you see we have the date type 1, date type 2, and the durations displayed. We have the date calculated. Today's date has been calculated. You can see the rule that was assigned and which it is calculating. Then you can see the date type 2. I have added the dates. So you can see that 10 days has been added to this. Then the duration which I had defaulted to 10 days, that is being shown. So let's again revise what we have done. We had first defined the date types and the duration types. In the date profile, we have assigned the date types to the date rules by which it is getting calculated. We have assigned the durations, and in the duration we have given a default value. That's why it is being shown over here. Okay, and we have also assigned the date types and durations to the opportunity assignment block, due to which it is being shown in this order. Now the order, date type 1 is being shown first, date type 2 is being shown second, and duration is shown third. That too has been defined in the date profile, where we have assigned the positions. Okay, and if I click on edit list, so I can see that whether what is the display format, whether it is editable or display only. So you can see the date type 1, date type 2, these are editable. So you can say that, yeah, my end result is in sync with what I had configured. So this is how you can configure your own date types, your own duration types, assign the date rules to the date types. So here we have our profile, we define the reference objects, we define the date rules, assign the date types, assign those to the screen areas, we define the durations and assign that to screen area, and finally we assigned our date profile to our transaction type, and we saw how our end result can vary based upon the different selections that we have done in our date profile customization. So this is how configuration works. So we just saw how we can configure the date profile. So in our follow-on sessions, we'll see how we can configure different objects in SAP CRM. So happy learning.